Right, so welcome to the auditing session. So today I'll take questions about the auditing parts and I'll share the assignments which cover the audit. So if you have any question, I'm open to take a few questions for now. So I'll be able to wrap up. Then we can take more questions. So Felicia. Felicia,
Yes, sir.
your question.
So, okay, my question is that just like Agnes said, I watched the video, everything, but I was like thinking that maybe there was still going to be another video that we need to, that's going to explain the audit in depth. I was like, so when you were asking if we started the audit, that was why I didn't raise my hands up. I've skimmed through the document, but I've not actually done anything. So that video that was released last week, is it what we're going to use for the audit?
Yes. So now you say in depth. What do you mean you want to go in depth on the audit? And let me ask,
Maybe
what
I
is
was.
audit?
I,
Let's start with what is audit from your understanding.
you said that. What did you say, sir?
From your understanding, what is audit? Auditing a content.
I think I think I understand audit to be reviewing a document and looking for errors or ways of, like ways of improving it, and just ways of improving the document or reviewing it, finding errors, and then um, um, suggesting solutions that will fix the errors. I think, to my own understanding, yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. So if you watch the video, you know the video covered that. So if you're looking for something more in depth, I don't understand what more in depth you want, except you want to have a video dedicated for audit that would audit an entire document, which is unrealistic when it comes to, courses, because you're trying to cover up different areas and you can't take one section to cover up everything. So the video or the course that was shared covered audit to a very good extent. So that's why I also have this session for any other clarity for that. So you watch the video, you have a more session to ask questions and understand more on that topic. So Messi. Okay, so am I sharing my screen? So let me know if you see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Which one is this? I think I'm sharing. All right. So let me open this. So I don't know if you have checked. I think was it Judy that was talking about the verified docs. All right. So if you watch the video, like I said, there is no standard way of creating, and all. They don't have like a standard format. This must be in table, this must be in this must be in that. There is no standard way. So create it in a way, your report in a way that will be easy to understand and a way not to confuse people. So if you think table will be good, fine. I also talked about table is good for smaller audits, a page that you don't have to cover up a lot. You can use table for that. But if you want to cover up a whole lot, don't use table. But if you want to use table, which means you have to categorize it a lot. Let's say page 1, and you check that page 1 is too big. You can categorize maybe page 1, introduction in page 1, the table for it, the issues, that same page 1, you just do it. But the main thing is write the report in a way that will be so clear for people to understand. This is the problem, this is the page, and this is the solution. So the report should contain the following: the page, the problem, and the solution. All right, so let me go back to this again. Should this be okay? So I think you are auditing the entire world. That's this model. So you're starting from here, right? So this is the first page. So you're starting from, let me close all this. So let me make it, like this makes it very small. So you guys don't get scared. Okay? This is small, just 1, 2, 3. It's not small. Sorry, I have to juggle a bit because let me see. My question is not about auditing. I want to know what a doc is all about. I don't understand it. What's a doc engineer and not about audit. Doc engineer is an engineer that handles documentation, builds and manages documentation. So docs engineer, some companies would be a software engineer being the one building. Then some other will be someone that would manage and also build, not like customize, because we have the core engineers that be able to customize. When you go to some docs, you see their homepage, you know that is not a work that a non-technical person can do. So docs engineer, you have a programming knowledge, you'll be able to code, you'll be able to manage. I just want to hear from, I have the same, this, okay, more. So I need to get an ice cream up. Okay, so back to this. So we have, okay, let me close this one. So it's just 3 categories, very small, it's not so much. So under data extraction API, you have all this. Small. And sometimes I envy you guys, I kind of envy you guys. So go through this entire docs and look at the docs and ask yourself one question: what should be improved in this docs? Sorry, again, I have to juggle back. So what should be improved in this doc? So let's say in your reports, you have one section for extraction, data extraction API. That's the first. Then under it, you have your getting started. That's the second. So you categorize it in a way clear. Sorry again. Yeah, so I think you have this. Yeah, so you have authentication will be on its own. So don't try to make it in a way it's so difficult for someone to even go through. So authentication will be on its own. You have document processor will be on its own. Sync and async processor will be on its own. So I know that whenever I go under authentication, the issues and the solutions I'm seeing would only be under that, not outside that. Okay, so with that, it's clear for anybody to see. So here, I think I cover the areas. You would have to audit in the video. So you go here, you check the content, check the grammar, check everything. You also check. Now you have the audit to have like a general, and you have this categorized section. So the general will cover the platform being used, should we change or use a better one, the snap bag, are they okay where they are, the search, does it have this, does it have a day-night team, does it have that, does it have this sort of one, before you come into this smaller units. So here you go to the content and you check, is this workplace, is this visually appealing? Somebody looking at this, would they enjoy this? The UI components, are they used properly? Do they need to use anyone properly? You go through it. Is the page too long? Is the page too short? Do I need to merge this page with another page? That's the question you have in your head. And you go through this and you would answer them and you come up with a very good document. Okay. So you do this for every page we have here. So when you're done with getting started, you go back to receipt and invoices, do the same thing. You see that the way they categorize it is easier for you to know which one is under which one, you understand? So don't try to come here and confuse somebody with the audit. That way you're already showing whoever is reviewing your work that I want to stress you. And that means I don't know what I'm doing. So try to ensure you categorize, even if this is not good. Follow this because this is what is already on the docs. You understand? So ensure you follow this the way it is to audit, because you're just trying to tell them what you have, I'm giving you back, but I'm trying to tell you there is an issue in each section. Then you have in the audit where you now propose a much better structure. If you think this structure is bad, propose a much better structure than this one. You understand? Propose let's use a much better platform because this platform doesn't have enough UI components to be able to make it more visually appealing, help readability and more. So you go through each section, do the same thing for all of them, and you get to this point. So for me, like, if just looking at this, I know this wouldn't take like maybe one day, but because of time, maybe because if some of you are busy with some stuff, it might just take 3 days. But if you want to relax and submit it at the end of the 2 weeks, that, like I said, it's very easy. So at the end of 2 weeks, you can just quickly use 1 hour, go through this, and boom, you just send it down to us. So do same for this. Yeah, hi Ola.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, good day.
Or evening, sorry. I have just one question.
Sure.
Yeah, so you mentioned touching on problem solution. How deep should we go? Because I'm just thinking, so if, for example, if one of the problem I see is that maybe a particular phrase is not maybe fit for a defined audience,
Yeah.
should I just say, oh, this page does not fit, or there's this and that's the solution? Maybe page can be modified, or do I actually have to maybe modify? I'm just as an example. Do I actually have to modify the content as a solution?
Yes.
Like how granular?
Yeah. So let's say you read this line. It's okay. This place is not, this particular sentence is not very good for here. It needs to be improved. So you pick up this. This is the problem. This is the page. This section is where that has the issue. Now this is the problem. This doesn't help this and that. The solution to this, rewrite this. You now have to write this. Now, so when they they say, okay, this is the page. This is where we have the issue in this page. This is the issue with this section. And this is the solution, being what you have already rewritten to make it much better. So if also this other sentence is also the same thing, you have to do that till you get to the last part being this delete and that. Now that is for the content. You also check if this is okay, this info here, this UI component they use. If it's okay, if it's not okay, you also note it down. So that way it's easier for someone to understand. Are we on the same page?
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
You see, it's very easy now. So you guys are cool, man.
I don't think it is easy, Shabbat.
All right. I think someone raised their hand or something. Gloria, what's up?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, Gloria. What's up?
Okay, I have a question concerning the code samples. because according to the video, you said we should like ensure that it is working. But then opening, like when I was going through the docs, I was seeing something like Android, iOS and the likes. There were like different kind of code examples there. But then I'm not familiar with those terms. So how do I ensure that they are correct?
Yes. So if you're in a company, they would expect you to know how to test it, because you're just checking if it's working or not. That's testing it. So I've not seen which section. Let me see how. So, but you need to have
I
very
think
good knowledge of that to be able to test. If it's iOS or Android, you'll be able to meet with the SMEs and they will tell you how to test it. Give you Android Studio so you can run the Android app to test that code to be sure it's working. If it's iOS, I think it's S code. I think so, it's S code. If it's I think, what do they call that? Is it multi-mobile, where you're able to have one programming language create both stuff like React or Flutter. You'll be able to have the IDE they use, and like VS Code for React, Android Studio for Flutter, also VS Code. You can use VS Code to create for Flutter. So you need to have a good knowledge of testing. It's a must, because you can't just jump that step. Except if the company has the luxury of time with the SMEs, then they would help you test, which that's not realistic. But let me see, which section did you see the code?
that should be I
This
think receipt. That receipt. Yeah. Under
solution,
yeah. Yes. Yes, you can. I think from
which
there,
is
yeah.
odd. This looks like okay, iOS. Yeah, so you have to test all this. So you look for a way to make it work in your local system. So npm is for Android. Yeah, so but for this assignment, it might be unrealistic for you guys to test all of this. So if you can't test it, fine. Test it and share the, what they call it, more like a screenshot of the, or you share the, copy the response. But if you can't, you can just leave this section. But in
Okay.
real organization,
That I want to ask that in
is a
real like in real life situation, so we have to like test it.
yes, it's a must. You can't skip it. You can't skip it. It's a must. So I'm just skipping this because this is more like a cohort, and it's not realistic for most of you to go through all of this. Okay. So, but in a real organization, it's a must. And if you don't do it, this will definitely affect um your stay in that company, because someday something will come up and they're like, I thought someone worked on this. And they're like, yes, she worked on this. He also checked this one. Then how is this not working? And that's the beginning of the person's problem. So it's a must for you to do that. But because of time, and because of this, like a cohort, and most of you are not familiar, I'm seeing capacitor here. So, but when it comes to real life organization, they would be sure that you have at least one or two of this one that you're able to test. And look for a way for you to test the other ones where you meet the SME. Companies, they have people that do .NET separately, Flutter and Android. So you'll be able to meet those people. They will tell you how to test it, not they testing it for you. Like I said, that's something that won't happen. And even if it does happen, try not to make it happen again, because you're affecting you, that you probably making yourself look vulnerable. So they will just show you how to test it and you go and test it yourself. So you test everything. So that's why audit takes a whole lot of time. Like it takes a whole lot of time for you to go. So you're checking every angle, every edge cases on each page to ensure that everything should be the way. Yeah, things that are working are working. Things that are not working, you've noted them down. Issues, sentence, structure, UI. Till you're done with everything. Like this particular assignment now is like I said, it's something easy that you guys can finish up quick. So if you just focus once, you see yourself getting it done. Do I have another question?
No, no, you've answered my question already. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Yep. I trust you would get it done within 2 days. Yeah, Anthony.
I wanted to ask for the codes when you're testing them, just like you talked about the grammar, would you also write the code samples that works? Like if test it doesn't work, would you suggest another code that should be there?
No,
Or
no,
would
no.
you just say that this code doesn't work?
Yes. But if you can, that would be fine. But that's not your work. But if you can, that would be great. And the engineers are like, thank you for making it easy. And again, engineers might have a way they write their code, their style, which what you bring might be different from theirs. And it might look like you're making them look like they don't know what they're doing. You understand? So just say it's not working. I tested this and this is the result I got. Stop it there. You know, some
Okay.
people might not like the idea of you bringing solution, like you want to do my work. So you start having unnecessary issues. So it's not working. I ran this code and I got this, but I'm supposed to get this and look at what I got. Simple. You will
All
go
right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So who else? All right, Cecilia.
Hi, everyone. I just want to go back to the point of you saying that we have to go through the documentation page by page.
Yeah, yes.
And I'm just wondering,
Okay.
in a real situation, let's say you're given, a site worth of 1,000 pages of documentation, and
Yeah.
you're a technical writer. Are you really telling me that you have to read 1,000 pages?
Yes. I said it a few minutes ago and I'm saying it now again.
No, I don't know. I just couldn't believe it because I don't think that it's feasible, and that's why I was wondering: are you allowed to take like a sample size of the documentation and analyze that? Because 1,000 pages for one writer, for example, how?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in a startup environment, that is where you see one writer doing that. But if you go in let me say startup, like one that is still at the early stage, they don't have the funding, so you be the one to do it. So, and like I said, if you don't do it, let's say you try to skim some pages, it will come back and haunt you. That's one thing. It's going to come back and haunt you. So it's something you must do, but it takes it. Like I said, it takes a lot of time. So you can take. Sometimes it do take 6 months. So the docs is still there. You are just auditing the docs to check each issues and areas. And when you're auditing, you're also trying to improve depending on the structure the company has. So when you're done with this page, you improve this section because you can't just do everything like that. So you audit one page, you improve that section, and it keeps going. If it's that big, so that is how you do it. So you don't just waste your time doing audits, and before it gets to so month, they've changed some startups do change a lot of stuff. Before you wake up in the morning, they've changed one UI, they've changed one structure, they've changed one code, they've changed one stuff. So you give yourself like 6 months to audit and improve the entire documentation. So you start out with the first page. If you're done with that, so within 2 weeks, you're done with the audits and you've gotten the issues and the solutions, you start improving. When you're done with improving, you go over to the next one. So that is how you do it. Sometimes it takes like a year because it's not something that is you just quickly move. So if you have one person, that is how you do it. So it's more feasible and easier for you to do. So within a year, you'll be done. So it's not something that will be done in 2 weeks. This is just a cohort. Okay. It's not done in 2 weeks. Sometimes it takes 1 year. Sometimes you have 6 months, 3 months to audit and to improve. And most especially, like you said, 1,000 pages is a lot. So you go through, and since you're not just checking for the content, you're checking for a lot. Content, you're checking for structure, you're checking for formatting, you're checking for the UI component, you're checking for navigation, you're checking for, in short, the person that builds the docs, you're also checking on the person, are you okay? You're checking on a whole lot. So it's going to take a while, but it's a must for you to finish it. Okay. You should finish it. If you don't finish it, the team might finish you later. So finish it and not get finished by not auditing some sections. So don't be scared, okay? It's what it is. And most especially when you're being paid fine with some company, so you look at, okay, I'm getting paid this. Let me just do this. We call it suffering and smiling. You're like, Oh, I'm being paid fine. Oh my God. But I just need to finish this. Just do it. Are we good? All right, thank you. So who else?
So sorry, sir.
All right, who's that?
It's Felicia.
Okay.
So last week I saw a post. I don't know if it's you or the technical writing mentorship handle that made the post about um I think the how much you should charge or something related to that, like um payments that you're laughing. Okay. So when Cecilia asked like if you have like 1,000 pages to audit. So my question is, if you're doing that as a freelancer, how much do you think you can charge since it takes a whole lot of time?
Um, Charging depends on your experience, your exposure, depends on your portfolio, and also depends on the depth of the project. So if you don't have so much experience, you can't charge so high because you probably get rejected. So that factor is what you will check. So for someone that has a lot of experience, he says 1,000 pages. There is I don't know. I think you'll be led by the spirit. You can look at it. I think let me just charge some amount of money. Sometimes clients do have a fixed budget. You know, maybe you can decide since it's just checking for issues and all that, maybe I will charge it's 1,000 pages and I'm also writing the solution, which means at the end of the day, they might not take me, they might look for someone else to complete the other part. So let me take £1,000. I'm saying pounds because I'm here. Sorry, let me use US dollars, which is like what everybody understands. I will call it worldwide currency. So 1,000 USD, you understand? Or you like, okay, let me go with 500 USD because I'm led by the spirit today. Or maybe take 2,000 USD. And again, it depends on the budget of the company. If you got the company is big, I don't think you need to charge small. So if you look at all these factors, how big the company is, your experience, your portfolio, your profile, the depth of the project, you put them together and you come up with something. So, but you need to have a minimum of, no matter how small the audit is, have a minimum that I can't go below $300, I can't go below $500. Have a minimum, they'll work with that. So it varies. Okay, so let's take the next question and let's leave out money for now. Okay, let's jump on to the next question. So who else?
You said we'd have to like go through like all the sections. Does that mean that there'd have to be more than like one page of an audit report? Like, because I'm trying to visualize how to condense possible solutions into one report, like one page of a report.
Okay, it's not one page of report. We said submitting Google Docs. So Google Docs doesn't mean one page. So if your report is very big, I think Google Docs has where you can organize it page by page. I think by the left, you can do that on the left, like the sidebar of the page. I think so. So you would create a page with you have one Google Docs and you have several pages inside that. So you take the first one as data extraction, then you create a new page for verified lanes and you add everything in that. And then also some content are not that bad. So auditing, so I want to clear it up here so people don't think when they say audit, it means that the page has a lot of problems. Sometimes a particular page is fine. So you don't need to write anything. Fine is that it's fine. You jump to the next section that has an issue. Sometimes a page would have just one problem. To you, that's the only problem. You write that problem. So don't look for problem where there is no problem. Okay. Yeah, they say we should audit this page and look for problem, and you turn things that are not problem into problem. It will not be a problem. So let's not convert stuff that are not issues into issues. So just go through it. Be honest, be sincere. Not like I must look for problem. Problem must be here. Problem might not be there, and you create a problem. That will not be a problem to you, not to me actually, because I will dodge that problem. So Google Docs has that feature where you can create pages. So you use that to organize the docs. So it's not just in one Google Docs page. Let me, okay, this is not admin. I would have tried to show you that this is not admin side. All right, so that's what you do. But if you can't do that, you can have different, but that's the best way to do it. So you don't confuse the reviewer to start having different Google. So one Google Docs page is fine. Then you organize pages inside the Google Docs to do that. Then by the left-hand side, it has a plus button for you to create. Let me see if I can check that from there. Yes, so you will see a document tab. So by the left-hand side, you click plus, you create for what you want to do. All right, so another question. Are we good? Who was that? Was that Kristen?
Yeah, yeah, slowly coming together. So it can be one page. It just has to have like the sub headings
Yeah.
in it. Okay,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yes.
All right.
So that is well organized. All right. So any other question?
Yeah, I have one question. I'm waiting for you to call me. But...
All right, sure. I'm looking at the different screens, so I'm not looking at the Google Docs. Yeah.
So my question is, currently I'm a product manager, and from the way I see things, I think success metric is a very, very key element from what I have from my experience so far. So what I'm really trying to understand is actually tied to your points. There's a possibility that a page is totally fine, and you make an audit, and maybe the audit makes it worse. I don't know, right? So how do we track that the audits we've made actually validate that there's an improvement to that page?
All right, that's cool. So that is where you work with the marketing team. Then that is either depends on organization. So either you work with the marketing team to track the page, or if you have a very good knowledge of SEO, you have access to the admin parts, or you have a way for them to give you a report. So you get to study the docs. So when you're done with the audit and improvement, you start studying the docs. So people that visit, where they came from, how much time they spent on the page, what they clicked. So I think to check if this is successful, I think give yourself like 3 months, because you can't use 1 month to validate. So 3 months, then you get the report of 3 months, look at how much people came, because then to improve the SEO part of it too. Check the titles you use, try to add some keywords within the content. So those are the things you check for, add, and make it improve. So work with the marketing team, or if you have access to that, fine and good. You study that is much better. So like I say, it depends on the organization. Some will give you access for you to look at the Google Analytics. Some wouldn't give you that access. You're like, what do you want? We'll share with you. So that way you have that. But if you're able to track it every month, you're checking, okay, people are coming, what I've done, I can see improvement, people are spending more time on the page and more, then that is where you can. And also, I think some docs do have surveys where you can add. Some docs do have communities. So within communities, you probably members are saying, do you notice that the complaints have reduced? So the customer support team would like think, no, we're not having more issues coming from the communities, the users, and more. So which means what you've done really improved that stuff. So I've answered the question.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah, like you see, it's easy. You understand? Just very little things you just add and check for, and boom, you have very good docs. I trust you guys will kill this. All right, so let me check comment section if we have hey Prince, oh, you're here. All right, so I think I would let me give Prince some time to jump in.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes. Yeah, you can
So
hear
you
you.
want to give me some time. I just want to chip in and say something
Okay.
about that question about will you audit the entire docs? I wanted to give a real life example. So Christine, you remember when we worked with OpenMRS? I'm very glad that Christine is here.
Yeah.
So you know how many pages are on that documentation. You could check, you could go to their wiki right now and check. Now, to assert that the work we're going to do was worth it, I had to do an audit. Now, I was not auditing to check was to aside from outdated pages, what else can I pick up? So it was not in-depth reading in between the lines auditing I did for the OpenMRI documentation. It was checking the dates when last a page was updated. So I was checking, okay, this page was updated 7 years ago. This is too old. 5 years ago, this is too old. You know, so this is just to clarify that when it comes to very large projects, most of the time they already have what they want to do. They have a target they want you to meet. And so when you say audit this documentation, you already know what you're looking for. It might be, okay, they are auditing to take out images. It might be they are auditing to take out some component or some kind of stuff. So auditing most times will not come in the shape and form in which we're giving him this assignment. However, it is still the same structure whereby you take a page, look for a problem, and get a solution. I hope that's clear. Thank you, sir. That's what I say.
All right. Thanks for the input. Valid. All right, Cecilia.
Hi, just one last question from me. Yeah.
Cecilia. Okay.
In the audit.
Sorry. Who has their mic on? Can you mute? Right. Who has a mic on?
Christine, I think that will be you.
Yeah, I think I've muted her. Yeah. All right, Cecilia.
Yeah, just one last question from me. In the docs.
No, you can have. I have more questions.
In the docs audit, we've all understood you're meant to highlight the problem issues. However, I'd like to know whether you're also supposed to highlight to the company what they're doing well, because won't the document audit just become a document of you guys are doing all of this terribly, as opposed to like, are companies willing to read a document, an entire document that shows that they're not doing anything well? Or are you supposed to balance and say, okay, this is what needs changing, but this is what you're doing now that is working?
Okay. Well, the main essence they gave you that is they know for sure that some areas needs improvement, and they know that some other areas are fine. So they are not looking for someone to come tell them the docs is good. They're looking for someone to come tell them this area needs improvement. So I don't think there is any valid any benefit at all or something of telling them, this part is good, you did this way. They don't need that, because if that part is good and the other part is bad, why would they want you? So they want you to come and make the other sections that are bad to be good, just like the other areas. So telling them it's okay. Like I said, I wouldn't say don't tell them. I was going through this section is fine, they did this one well. But trust me, you don't even have that much time typing out or writing out the sections that are good. So your main goal is to talk about this is bad, this needs to be improved. At least you be a bit constructive, so it's not like you sometimes there are docs you look at, some areas you look at, you get so angry and you pour your emotions. So try not to put your emotions in that. Okay, try to be professional and just this needs to be improved because of this. Don't try to pour out stuff and make it look like the person. Sometimes you're auditing a docs of that was worked on with somebody that's already in the company. So that would be to be more careful so you don't hurt the person's feelings. Because yes, maybe the person didn't really do a good job and they want someone to come in and you came in and you just like sometimes you like, I don't need to audit the docs because the entire docs is rubbish and the person is in the meeting there. So you try to be constructive, try to be professional, but your main aim and goal is to tell them this needs to be improved, this needs to be improved, and how it should be improved, and not this is good and this is fine. You don't need balancing. The balancing is making the docs fine. That's the balancing they would need. Okay, that's it. All right. So yeah, Mike here.
Okay. Hello everyone. Okay, so I want to ask a few questions. The first one is on the testing you talked about as on the different platform, iOS, Android, and stuff. So I heard you, but like I get the point. You saying that it's to be quite difficult for us at this point, but I would still like to know if someone, if like throw more light on it, if someone were to do it, how do we go about it from our local machine here? That's about it. Then the second one is definitely there are code snippets in this documentation. I've tried to go through them, and I believe we are definitely going to test that too. So once we click on this code and it takes us to a page, the correct page for the code that certifies that it is correct, right? That code is working right. And then thirdly, we are going to audit this docket on the steps already talked about. That is confirmed for me on the structure, the flow, the UI component, the content, the codes, and all that. So these are the things I want you to like confirm to us, especially to me, I would say. So thank you very much.
All right. So I didn't get the last question so well, but maybe you're talking about the auditing with the current structure they have, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You don't need to change. You audit with the same structure so that when they are going through it to confirm, because some teams they would try to confirm if what you pointed at is actually existing or if it's a valid point. So, but you will have a different document that would now show that this is the improved version of this I want, but you need to follow this one they have. Now, for the testing, it's like I said, it's a must for you to test, and you need to have a good knowledge of all of them. Now, you might not have for all, you might have for some. So in some organizations, you get to meet with the SMEs, being the engineers that built these SDKs. So maybe you have one person that built the React and Flutter, you have another person that built the capacitor, and then .NET. You have another person for the Android and iOS, or you have different people. So you get to meet them individually if you don't know all of this. So you need to meet them, have a call with them. They will tell you how to test. Then you test it yourself to ensure the codes are working. So for the other codes that are here, you need to test. Like I said, because of time, you don't need to test the code, but you need to confirm that the links are working. But in real organization, you need to test. So the codes here, if it takes you to GitHub, you go to GitHub, you go there and test it. That sure it's working. But for the essence of here, they said install this plugin, you go to this section and try to install the plugin and see if it will install. If it does, then it passes that. But if it doesn't, then you note it down. I clicked and went to this section, this page, tried to install it, and it didn't work. So that is what you do. So for this assignment, just click link and confirm the link is working. The links are working in all the pages, but don't try to install because you don't have that time.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. All right, Christine.
Someone asked this in the chat, so I'm gonna read their question out loud. Where should we submit the our assignment? In the student Google Doc folder?
Yeah, if you're done, drop it in the on Discord.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. So when you're done, like I'm done, you drop it, then pick it up from there. Or maybe we'll create a what they call it stuff. Maybe Prince, you can create I think a Google form. Then you can drop the link and ensure you give viewer access, so we won't be begging you for access to that. So getting jobs in this field, is it that easy? I think I've talked about this before, depending on your location, depending on your experience. So if you're in the United States, you're in milk and honey. And if you're good and you're there, you shouldn't be having problems at all. Now, because of the systems in companies, some will do hybrid. So you can do hybrid in a company in San Francisco while you are in New York or something. It's not possible to take it. I don't know if there's a train that will take you from there to San Francisco. That would take like 4 hours. It's not possible. You being on the road for 8 hours. You've already done the work in the train. Or you want to take flight every day, you know the cost. So, but they have a lot of remote within countries, continent, and worldwide. So most especially your location matters. If you're in the UK, you see a lot of jobs. If you're in the US, same. If you're, let me say, Europe, you see a lot of jobs that say we want people within Europe. And we have some that say want people within the European Union. But it's difficult to see remote within Africa. I've not seen that before. I only see within countries in Africa, but I've not seen remote Africa. I don't know why. Then those in Asia, I've seen a lot. Singapore and more, they're enjoying when it comes to having gigs. North America, I think Canada is part of North America or something. Argentina and all the rest, they are enjoying too. So location matters, experience. I need to have a very good portfolio. Are there any best practice for framework that we can refer to during editing the benchmark pages, or do we benchmark the pages against internal style guide of the company? Yeah, so you can use the style guide of the company. If they don't have one, you create, but if they have one, so you use their style guide. Thank you for that question. So let's say using their style guide, which mainly focuses more on the content and the structure. So maybe the style guide says you should start your sentence with a small letter, and you see that most of you have in a capital letter. So you have to change it because that follows the style guide. And again, you also check that if that style guide is good enough for it to be followed, or you need to improve the style guide before you use the style guide. So it's a must for you to use an organization style guide as a guide to audit documentation. Thank you so much for that question. Okay, so I think I've answered. I got a call for this. I got called for a few minutes chat after applying for a technical writing job last week. Okay. I don't know what to say. Congrats. Congrats, that's cool. So, do we have any other question? I think we should. All right, so while waiting for questions, so is someone joining us now? So I think going through this okay, yeah, so you can check the setup and check everything is fine, if the page is good. So now let me ask one question. So looking at this page, what do you think is the problem here? Just raise your hand if you think you see any problem. So let me be sure that we are on the same page. We understand what we want to do. All right, Christine.
Based on what I see, it doesn't really delve into detail on how to specifically update the build setting, and also the in number 2 where it says info plist file, there's no really like asterisk to indicate that it's a name of code file.
All right, that's cool. Yeah, because it's I call it shallow. It's just scratching the surface, and which won't help someone
Oh,
set it
and
up.
one more thing, the part where it says optional, it could use an admissions, like a specific symbol to indicate that this option is that this particular permissions are optional. And the word and the sentence itself, it says that they are mandatory, but yet it says the word optional to it. So if I were the user, I'd be very confused.
Yeah, nice. That's good. Prince, I think you have seen her. That's I love everything you pointed at. Prince, I
Yes.
think we have her
Yes.
now, but all right, thank you, Christine. That's spot on. But I'm seeing one very minor. Okay, who has a mic on again? Their hands up.
I do.
All right.
Yeah. So for my point, I
So
see.
first, do you agree with Christian?
Yes, I do.
All right.
In addition to the point, I think from my own perspective, enable bits. Well, I've not gone through the rest of the document, but enable bit code. I don't really understand what bit code means. Validate workspace. I think there's an assumption that the user should understand that. Maybe more clarity around what they even mean. Also, the notes. Sorry. Also, the notes there. I think that should be like an info. And also, if you're using Xcode 14, not everybody understands Xcode 14. So maybe an hyperlink, or even a guide to say you can download this here and where you can go to would have been useful. Yeah, those are like the 3 points I've seen.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was gonna point that out
Think
as
we are
well.
good to go.
Like, yeah, I definitely think the Xcode 14 should be hyperlink, and note should be turned into, like, there should be a specific symbol, or it could be bolded in some sort of way to indicate to the user that this particular piece of information is important.
Yeah. You guys got it right. That's so cool. So you see how easy it is for you to figure out issues, and I think I trust you guys who can do this stuff in 2 days. You can just use this style and boom, you're done with the audit. 2 days. I trust Christine can get that done. Ola is so fast. So you guys can finish up in 2 days. All right, Gloria. You want to add to a point?
No, I want to ask a question actually. Concerning concerning the term, since it's like a developer's documentation, I think there are some terms that developers are meant to understand. Like you don't have to like break it down to be like, I don't know how to put it, but there are some terms
Yeah.
that you must that's what like I want to confirm, because I think it was mentioning something like the term is unclear and
She's fading in and out. I can't really understand her.
I mean the terms, like the terms, are we not like allowed to use like technical terms since it is like a developer's doc?
Okay. Yeah. So can you mute? Yeah, because it's echoing. Yeah. So one is just like when you want to write your content, you have your audience. We also, I had a question is, can you use technical terms in developer documentation? Yes, you can. So, but you need to take into consideration audience the docs is really focusing on. And the audience actually differs because you can have expert audience for the entire docs, because main essence of docs is mainly for beginners, starting from beginners to intermediate and advanced. That's why when you go to docs, you see from the beginning, you see it's very easy. When you get to the last part of the docs, is more advanced. So you're accommodating everybody. So you are allowed to use technical terms, that's for sure. And you look for a way to make it easier for other people to understand what that means. So that is where you would add links. So that's why it's important to, interlink in your doc. So you have a section in your docs where you explain that technical term. So when you mention it somewhere else, you would link it back to that place. So if someone that doesn't understand that, what that means, they will just click and it takes them there. They will understand and they will go back. So, but when you put the technical term and you don't have a way to explain it anywhere you explained it, you just assume that anybody that comes to this page will understand, and that will create a problem. But it's very much fine and okay to add that, because actually you're building the docs for engineers, so you need to add the language you understand. Okay, so you want to ask more questions? All right, thank you so much. So let's check this second one, then I think we can take more questions. Okay. This one looks big. Whoa. I think this is difficult. So Prince, do you have any input before I continue?
Sorry, you asked if I have anything to include, like to say.
There any input generally you want
Hello?
to tell them before I?
Not at
Hello,
all.
can you
I'm
hear me?
enjoying. Yeah, I can hear you. Can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the back and forth with everybody, the energy. So it's the assignment I want to see. It's the input from the assignment, because this energy is actually very encouraging. So it's the assignment I'm waiting for. But for now, I'm getting very good responses, and I'm very positive that they're going to come with their best foot. So I'm good. Good.
All right. Okay, I'm looking for one that would not be that big. You can just usage and interface. Okay. Okay, guys, let's have a look at this one. So take your time, look at this. I think we only have in just the iOS part. So we have the Android. We have now, I know we've raised some points, the notes. So let's not talk about the notes. Let's look at Android now. So let's not talk about the notes. I think I've covered the notes for you guys. Anyway, I see notes. They're supposed to do it where just leave it. And let's talk about something else. Okay, let's start with now. So look at this page and tell me what you think they did where. From starting from here, this home, maybe anything you think the UI component here, this stuff is fine. You explain why it's fine. So starting from here down to this section to tell me one thing you think they did well before we go back to the problem. I think Cecilia, you like us to balance it.
I think one positive thing that it does is let me just think a bit. It does give options on what the user could do if a certain step doesn't work. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. That's a nice one. Thank you. That's a nice one. I didn't even spot that. All right. So who else? Did someone raise their hand?
Sorry, I missed the question. I don't think I actually got the.
Okay. Yeah. One positive in this page. One thing you think they did well. So
Oh, okay.
starting from this section here down to here. Just this, please. From this home stuff down to here. What you think they did well. All right. Who's that? Go ahead. So Christy.
I also
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I also think they have given options. So they said like launch the lens camera, and then there's an option if that doesn't work. And they are even giving like the specific errors you're going to get if there's a problem. So I think this page is more, it's more easy to follow. Even if you don't know what's going on, you can see the instructions are quite clear.
Okay, thank you. So the next person.
Yeah, from looking at this, one thing I think they've done well here is the what do you call it again? Basically the header structure. So they're kind of consistent. So we have user interface, which is like H1 in bold, and the bold is thicker than the number one, which is maybe H2 and consistent with number 2. And the bullet points and the contents. So it's kind of clear that all these bullet points of section are under number 2. And
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's cool. You guys got eagle eyes. So now everybody's looking at the content. Well, I'm seeing something else that is not more about the content that they did fine. Yeah, like I said, right from the beginning down, not we did some other stuff. Yes.
the dashboard lights, is that the the dark
No, that's not it. Like
okay.
it's staring at you right now, staring at you. It's not the content. It's something else.
I think I think the
Sorry, can
breadcrumbs.
we move our hands?
Oh, sorry.
Breadcrumbs.
Yeah, that was what I was
The
I was gonna
breadcrumbs.
say that too. Breadcrumbs.
Okay, I think
Yes,
your kids gave you
breadcrumbs.
your kids gave you inspiration. Mommy's breadcrumbs. We want to eat bread and not drop crumbs. She said, "Oh, breadcrumbs." Yeah. So I think I talked about that in the video. So with this, you know, you're coming from here. You're going here, and this is where you are. So imagine I close this page, and sorry, like I close or come maybe somehow close the browser and come up here. Your browser by default, this back button won't be functional to show fainted like this. So, but this will let you know, okay, this is where I came from. Look at the journey, and this is where I will get. Simple. So that's one thing. Thank you for spotting that. So now let's move to the problem. So, like I said, auditing a page doesn't mean there is a problem in a page. You tell you audit this entire docs. Sometimes they won't tell you what and what to audit. Sometimes they will tell you this is what we want you to audit. But in that case, I will always advise when they give you a specific thing to audit on the page, or like Prince stated out the image and all that, there is a reason they always add in the job description proactivity. People think it's just a mere word, being proactive. So that is where the proactivity comes in. You're going ahead of time, you're going ahead of them. We want you to just check the content. You will check the content, check the formatting, check the structure, check the links, check other things, and you give them this is the content stuff you want. Oh, thank you. And I also did this one. Wow, are you serious? They will start looking you differently in a much better way. So when they tell you audit this, just this section, it's good for you to go ahead. That way, like in some companies, little things like that will bring raises. You know, they would like, oh, that person, and she's good, she has grown. Okay, let's give her a raise. That's it. Maybe if it's an interview tax, majorly an interview tax, you don't know what the next person is doing. That is the worst part. You don't know what the person is planning. So you need to do something that will marvel them when they look at it that, oh, I think she did much better than every other person. So when they say do this part, do that part, and also do the other part. So, and again, I will still repeat myself. When they say audit a page, it doesn't mean that particular page has an issue. Or they say audit a docs and all the pages, there must be a problem. Now, the problem depends on the auditor. Let me put it that way. I might go through this page and say that I'm okay with what I have here because it fulfills what I want. The next person will go and say, no, they need to change this way, they need to change it that way. So that's why when you work with different editors, you see that the outcome is always different. So when you have a company that have 2 editors for a particular content, that content, I don't know what that content will look like, because it didn't look like what the writer provided. Because this one will look at it, change it this way. The other person will look at it and make it look like the other reviewer or the other editor didn't find out that this is a problem and that is the problem. Change it, and the content will look like something different. So it's always different from each auditor, each reviewer, and each writer. So, question back to you guys. Look at this page and tell me if you find any problem. And if there is no problem, it's okay. Everything must not be a problem. Don't create problem. Yeah, there is no problem. Okay, only fish out the problem. So raise your hand and I will call you if you think you've seen a problem in this page. And if there is no problem, also raise your hand and tell me there is no problem. And tell me why there is no problem. Because it will be a problem for all of us. All right. Raise your hand and I will call you. If there is a problem, raise your hand. So if there is no problem, raise your hand and tell me why there is no problem in this page. Like you looked at it and you didn't see any problem. Not just there is no problem. You tell me this is fine. This is okay. Let me get 3 responses. I think we are 12 minutes ahead of time. Sorry for encroaching. Okay, let me bring it down. Everywhere is quiet. I don't know if it's my network. Prince, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think we have a few hands up.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Ah, what's up? I didn't get the sound. Wait, okay. All right, so let me go with Andre. Andre, bravo.
Yes. Well, I think that the UI elements are not well used in this page because the headers have a very small font. The note looks bigger than the headers, so they want to where it says launch the lens camera, for example, should be larger. And then the examples are all, I mean, they should call attention for sure, but I think they could be presented better. I don't know yet how, but
You should know. You should know how.
Well, I think maybe
Your
like
points
a
are
code snippet, for example, but maybe someone else can also say how they think is better.
Yeah, thank you so much for the point you raised. Those are valid points. So let me go with people that have not said so much. Okay. Okay. So let me go with Cecilia.
Okay. I want to call attention to the sidebar. And I have noticed that the so under receipts and invoices, we have the subsections, installation, setup, initialization, and all the rest. My problem, or what I'm struggling with, is the descriptive naming of these sections. For instance, what is the difference between installation, setup, and initialization? Because from a layman's understanding, to install something, isn't that whether I'm to install something, to set something up, to initialize it, isn't it doing this? Isn't it the same idea of getting started with, setting everything up? So if there is a difference between the meanings of these sections, then the naming should be more appropriate. If there isn't any difference, then they should just, pick one name and collapse all the other sections, which mean the same thing, to one thing.
Okay, that's valid. So you jumped outside of our area and went there and gave expo. That's good. In my country, we call it expo. Well, that's good. That's a valid one because I've not looked at it, but when you pointed it out, it's clear because installation, setup, and initialization. Why not just pick one and do the rest. So that's cool. Thank you so much. So, like Prince said, the energy is high. So you guys, so and again, I'll ask one more last question because I know I want you guys to tell me where you finish this because it looks like you guys finish it in 2 hours because your energy is full. Hola, let's go with the guy.
Okay. Thanks. So I was actually gonna say the same point that Andrea raised. Makes sense. So I see 3 problems. Yeah. One of them I would say is choice of colors. The second one I would say, based on what Andrea said, is the UI elements. And the third problem is spacing. So for the choice of colors, I find this color weird, which is I feel like this green is too light and maybe a better shade of color should have been used for readability. I mean, it could be the same color, but just like a calm shade. Again,
Okay,
it's my choice. I might have,
yeah, so it's good at night, but looks like might not be
yes,
good.
it might not be good at day. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Then the
Nice.
second one is for the UI elements. So the like I said, the launch the camera lens camera is more like, yeah, I think it's like H3. Can be larger
Yeah.
to differentiate something closer to H1, which is the other day. That's one. Then secondly, for the parts where we have notes, right? I think it's actually the UI element there should be maybe like an info, something that stands out from the text, right?
All right.
And also we have a part that says lens will return an error. Basically, I feel like this error on should actually be color, like the color there should be red to differentiate that that's actually an error. And it
Okay.
should have been done in such a way that differentiates, because we currently have red showing show camera, verify lens. So like
Yeah.
the color should have been, and the structure should have been done in such a way that really differentiate the error itself from this red from the code.
Whoa, man, you guys are fire, man. That's cool.
Then the last problem there is spacing. So for section 2, it looks clustered. It's difficult to read. So maybe the UI elements there, the number 2 being a bigger header, right? And proper spacing will make this page more readable.
Okay, so what kind of spacing do you want? You want 2 because let's say they have, yeah. And which section is it after the optional being the number 2 point, the space before you get the launch?
So I think so. Maybe the problem is not spacing, but the UI elements makes it difficult. So maybe the solution here would be that the 2, for example, is larger. The launch, the gallery screen remains the same. The verify lens that show gallery does not have this red there, right? Then the show document browser does not have the red there. The notes below is structured better with UI elements, so that can really differentiate like the bullet points from the information that should stand out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks, man. You guys are doing great. All right, so let's go with Gloria.
Okay, I think one of the problem on this page is the notes, like there's no use of call outs. I think there are 2 different notes. There should be something like call outs to like highlight it so that people can easily spot that information. So that's the only thing I think.
All right, so now everybody's looking for problem. Like, yeah. All right, Christine. Hope you come with a different point of the page doesn't have a problem.
Oh, as far as like problem goes, number 2, it says there's a note that you can that there will be a return an error. I think instead of saying optionally number 2, I think that could be a note as well. Like it could be the 2 statements could be one note or something like that.
The retry uploading and okay, the 2 retry uploading. Do you mean the retry uploading?
No, I mean the one where it says note if there's no camera, like some Chromebooks, lens will return an error. And then number 2, it says optionally instead of launching a lens camera experience, you may perform one of the following. I think instead of making that number 2, it should just be like
Like a note.
a note. Yeah, like a note.
So when it comes to auditing, you need to be sure. So not like I'm thinking. So are you sure, or you're still not sure?
I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah.
All right, so let's look at it. So launch the lens camera. They gave a code which they expect you to know that this code will launch a camera, and then say optional. So instead of launching the lens camera experience, you may perform one of the following. So if you don't want to launch the lens camera, so you can launch the camera screen to submit image from here. You can launch the file screen to submit image, this from here, and this and that. All right, so one, you have a point that it's not a number, but again, the number is just for them to make it distinct. So you know that like their number normally means like step by step, clearly, sometimes. So, but sometimes it's just to add that distinct between both of them, that this is separate from this one. So your point is valid. It's not supposed to be a number, it's fine. Also adding a number is fine. So both are good. So you got a point. But I think for the problem, most response I've got is moving around one area. But I'm seeing something different that we should talk about. Just need one person to spot that. I know you might not read my mind, but just a different angle to that. Let's think about it this way. You're trying to show me something, and I know there's someone. So who's that? Maybe you've read my mind already.
I guess it's the way it's worded. Like they keep saying, launch. Oh yeah, screenshots. There's no images to give context on what they should see. Like it needs images or GIFs or something like that.
Yeah, so that's it. So either you put an image to add more clarity to that, like this launch file explorer screen to submit images and PDF files from the photo gallery. At least this should add more. They should add more explanation to this, so it's clear for the launch screen. When I launch the screen, what would I see? Would I see a code response, or would I see a screenshot, something? So that will make it easier. So usage and interface, and I'm not even seeing anything at all. Yeah, man. So I think someone dropped something in the comment section. Thank you so much, Christine, for spotting that up. Let me drop mine. They should use call out for the note, and for the commands, the user should be able to copy them. The components to copy is not there. Yeah, that's a valid point. Oh, what is there? So they have it. They have it. Thank you for spotting that, but they have it, unfortunately. Okay. There is one if you hover with your mouse, but it should be more. Okay, okay. Oh, you guys have answered it and I'm going ahead. Okay. Yeah, but it depends, If it's just there, it might not add, but this is fine. So some people, once you get here, you see the copy. If you get closer, it's more bold. So, man, you guys have done so well. So do you have any question? I think we've added 24 minutes to now. I have a question. So are we ready to start the assignment? Have we covered everything? All right. All right, Christine.
As far as like watching the chapters 4 and 5, apparently they're kind of conveying the same things as chapters 1 to 3. So I don't have a question, but just something to point out.
Okay, so I didn't get the question. I didn't get the comment.
Apparently someone mentioned before that in the video, chapters 4 and 5 are the pretty much repeat the same information as chapters 1 to 3. I don't know. I'm just expressing a concern that they have.
Okay, yeah, I will check it out. I'll check it out. Thank you for that. I will check that out. Okay, so any other question? And I think, are we good to go? I only got a response from Cecilia. So have we covered everything and you guys are ready to jump on this assignment? Okay, so Prince, do you have anything to share with them?
For now, no. I've dropped your form for submission. So for those of you that will finish this night, you can start submitting.
Exactly.
That's all I can say. So yeah, good luck.
Yeah, so, and again, for those that will submit this night, can you raise your hand so we can identify you? But because I think Ola and Christian will finish this night. Yeah, Gloria will also finish in Cecilia. Yeah, Bravo. Andre will also finish this night. So I think I've pointed out 4. Who else again? No, I'm serious. So if anybody, okay, Prince, can we put a price tag on if anybody can finish this night? Everything.
Let's give them time. Let's not pressure them and make. But I know some of you will finish you. But let's just leave it open for now.
Yeah, let's give them time. Let's give them time. The 2 weeks is small, but let's just give them the 2 weeks. 2 weeks is small. So let me go over this again so you guys see how small this assignment is. Yeah, Felicia.
So what's the deadline? Okay, you said 2 days before the next meeting, right? Is the deadline for submission?
2 weeks. If you're submitting that meeting day, fine. 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you look at this, so you guys are covering just these 3 sections here. So data extraction API, verify lens, and verify lens for browser, and verify lens for mobile. So you see, this is small. Can you mute, please? So this is, wow. Whoa, oh. Oh, what's this one? Okay, so this is small for you guys to jump onto. I envy you guys, All right, so this is quite small for you guys. So I don't know if you want us to add more to this, because this looks. So if you want us to add more to this, raise your hand, because this one looks small now. All right, guys. Sorry, I was kidding. But I'm still serious. If you want me to add more, with all pleasure, we'll give you guys more. All right. So do you have any question or comments? Do you have any question or comment before we say good night, good morning, good afternoon, depending on your time zone, or good evening? All right, so I think we're good to go. So if you have any question after now, you can drop it on Discord or jump on it. So I think conversations will jump more now that we now have a clear pattern on what to do and how to do it. So it's not a competition, like I said, so you guys are here to help each other. If you have any question, drop it in the chat. Somebody can help, clarify that. If I'm available, please available, we'll jump on that. So I will most likely love it when you guys, collaborate more too. This is not the time for collaboration. Collaborate means someone, I'm trying to do this, I'm not sure, someone can, jump on and clarify that. You can do that via a call, you can do that via just dropping dropping a message on Discord. So we have different time zones. So maybe someone wants to help you, the other person is sleeping. So you just have to wait. So when that person wakes up, you get help. So I think we are done with this. So thank you guys for joining.